the Saddam family was a family without limits.
Remember, this is a very dysfunctional, sadistic family.
They were prepared to do anything to stay in power, to enrich themselves.
The motto, indeed, for this family is the family that slays together stays together.
The family of Saddam Hussein, next on Biography. The saga of the Hussein family began with grand aspirations. Saddam Hussein had a vision of a dynasty that would live and rule for generations. Now his sons are dead, and the rest of his family is either under arrest or living in exile. Saddam himself has been captured and publicly humiliated when pictures of him as a defeated man were broadcast worldwide. U.S. soldiers had found him cowering in a tiny dirt cellar 10 miles south of his hometown, Tikrit. Saddam Hussein was sometimes called the Don from Tikrit, and is the powerful patriarch of a huge extended family and a corrupt and feared regime. He has often been compared to the central figure in his favorite movie, The Godfather.
Presumably he sees in Vito Corleone this idealized image of himself, and it's really not too much of a surprise when you consider that The Godfather is about power and about family. It's about a man who builds an empire preying upon the vices of modern society, but he does it adhering to a sort of an ancient code of honor, and he does it primarily out of loyalty to his family. And these are things that Saddam would very clearly identify with. He is an exemplar of sort of tribal culture in Iraq.
Saddam Hussein's family roots go back to the tribal Sunni Muslim area of central Iraq. Here, family squabbles were historically settled with brute force. Yet no matter what the conflicts inside the clan, nothing could take the place of a blood relationship when it came to trust and loyalty.
You can lie, cheat, steal, kill outside of the borders of the walls of your particular clan, and that's all considered to be very acceptable, because as long as you're working to further the interests of the clan, you're an honorable figure.
This tribal code would guide Saddam throughout his life, which began in the direst circumstances. Saddam's father died just months before he was born. His mother tried to abort him. Saddam survived, but only to face her rejection.
When Saddam was born, she would not look at her newborn son and turned physically away from him.
Not until he was 3 years old and she had remarried did Saddam's mother take him into her home. Saddam's stepfather, a local thug named Hassan the Liar, taught him the ways of the tribe, making him steal goats and chickens for money. His stepfather also brutally beat him.
They came out of that experience, never again will I yield to superior force. Never again will I be subordinated, be weak and helpless.
When he was 9, Saddam ran away to live with his uncle, a rabid nationalist who preached distrust of outsiders.
3 things God should not have made: Persians, flies, and Jews. He learned Arab and Iraqi nationalism and history and a fierce sense of anti-colonialism.
He inspired in his nephew, Saddam, dreams of glory. He said, "You have a crucial role to play in the history of Iraq."
By the time he turned 20, Saddam was a full-fledged thug and political activist. When he joined the newly formed Ba'ath Party, he made his living and a name for himself as a ruthless killer.
The greater power that you grab as you grow stronger and stronger, you have to become feared to a greater and greater extent. And this, forces you to become creative and sadistic in trying to make people afraid of you.
In 1958, Saddam, now a rising political figure, married his first cousin, Sajida Tulfa, a school teacher whose family also came from the village of Tikrit.
It's important to keep marriages within the family because that way you don't bring people in that you can't trust. If everyone's blood related, then everyone presumably is on the same page and has the same interests. And And so this is the tradition.
In 1964, Saddam Hussein gave birth to her first son, Uday. At the time, Saddam was serving a 2-year prison term for his part in an assassination attempt on the president of Iraq. Saddam was allowed family visits and used his baby son as a courier.
His wife would bring little Uday in to see Dad, and there'd be secret messages from the other sort of revolutionary, the conspirators outside the prison, hidden in Uday's diaper. So Saddam would, hold up his little baby to kiss and slip his hand in and get the messages.
In 1966, Saddam was released from prison. The same year, his second son, Hussein, was born. But family was not Saddam's priority now. His Ba'ath Party had come to power. Saddam's cousin, Ahmad Hassan al-Bakr, became president of Iraq and appointed Saddam head of the secret police. He became an absentee father.
He was in his office at dawn and worked till late in the night. The children would have been brought up under the care of their mother, who was a teacher, but like a lot of Arab women, she would have indulged the boys a lot, as a consequence of which they had no real discipline.
Uday grew particularly close to his mother. He would always be protective of her. Saddam took little notice of his eldest child's increasingly unruly behavior.
In actual fact, he was much more aloof than that, and much more interested only in his power and in holding on to it, which for him was certainly a full-time job.
Over the next few years, Uday and Hussein were joined by 3 more siblings, all girls.
Saddam's daughters, Rina, Ragab, and Hala, were also favorite children, but they were never given the duty that Saddam expected of his sons. Instead, he wanted them to grow up normally and to make good marriages.
The girls worshiped their father and looked to him for guidance in everything.
We will go to our fathers for many issues or problems. He taught us to tell him what's going on. Usually the daughter should be close to her mother, but we were the one who usually go to him. He was our friend.
But Saddam's ambitions for the future were grounded in his sons. He made sure they would follow in his footsteps. Uday and Hussein were exposed to torture and violence, the way other children were taken for an outing in the park.
It is said that the boys, when they were young, were taken to see the torture chambers in Baghdad as an afternoon treat, and Uday in particular is said to have relished the experience.
It became evident early on that Uday, the